Welcome to Sacred Magic. Violet is on a quest to bring sacredness back into our everyday experiences. Anyone can have an extraordinary life when they are able to tap into their sacred magic within. Violet and her guests will be sharing their divine passions, inspirations, and stories of connecting with their sacred magic. We are so happy you have joined us today. Let's get started with your host, the magical creator of Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, Vialet Rayne.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sacred Magic Podcast. I'm your host, Vialet B Rayne. My guest today is Dagmar Bryant. She is a passionate speaker, an empowerment coach, and a spiritual guide who brings years of experience and personal development and transformation. With a global background and a compassionate presence, she uplifts her guests and audience alike with warmth, clarity, and authenticity. Angelic Footprints podcast is a heartfelt where the host Dagmar explores divine guidance, angelic encounters, and stories of transformation. Each episode invites listeners into a sacred space of inspiration, healing, and insight, featuring guests who have experienced the unseen presence of angels in powerful and often life-changing ways. Welcome to the show. How exciting to have you on here.
Violet, firstly, let me say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be on your show. It is exciting, absolutely.
Well, and I love the angels. So I've been working with angels since I was a small child. So having those experiences, I totally understand. I love my connection with the angels. So talk to us a little bit. What brought you to do your podcast? What led you down the road to share these stories and inspirations with others?
Oh, goodness, Violet, you said we had only a limited amount of time. I could talk about this for hours. So basically, I've had a connection with spirit and with angels for a very long time, since I was a little girl. And I actually thought it was normal to be very intuitive and to be very psychic. What I didn't realize is that not everybody understood that connection with the spirit world the same way that I do. And it was at some point in my teens where I discovered that I was a little bit different. Like I said, for me, it was always normal to be very spiritual, to be very connected to my intuitive sense, to my angels, to my guides. And I had an experience when I actually was in my early 20s, and I actually got run over by a car. I was a pedestrian, totally sober, I'd like to add, but the car was traveling down a road that I wasn't expecting it to go, and I was crossing the road and I wasn't expecting it to be there because I'd crossed the road thinking that a section of road was open, but it wasn't. And it hit me, and my angels and guides totally protected me. I got thrown to the other side of the road. Can you believe there was no damage to the car, no damage to me? And everyone kept saying to me, oh, you've got to go buy a lottery ticket. You've got to buy a lottery ticket. You know, your guardian angels have looked after you. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm good, thanks. I think, I've had my luck. My guardian angels really did look after me. And I think I didn't even really appreciate it at that time as much. To me, again, it was kind of normal. But, you go on with your life. You get involved with relationships, your kids, with work and all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't until I was in my mid-30s that it really started opening up again. And I was working in law at the time, and I had this big, I don't know, I guess you would call it a crossroads that was before me. Do I follow this path of law, or do I follow this spiritual side? And I even went and saw a psychic once, and she said, as if to say, you've got to work it out yourself. And I still remember very, very clearly. It was a Sunday morning. It was a beautiful spring morning. I'm the first one up. Like, kids aren't up, nobody else is up. And I just had this inspirational moment over my cup of coffee where I just knew it was absolutely right that I follow the spiritual path, that my time in law was totally done. And there's a lot that I could add to that because there were a lot of things that were going on in my workplace. But basically, it was like, no, you're done. That's it. And I became a psychic medium officially. I had started my own business. My poor dad, he was totally mortified. Like, oh my goodness, you were supposed to be, not only were you studying law, but you were working in law, and now you've just quit all of that. Like, what is going on with you? And basically, I went from, being the favorite daughter to the black sheep of the family because I became a psychic. And my dad just didn't understand. But that inner knowing within me was what I knew was the right path for me, and allowing the angels in and following that spiritual path. And okay, the podcast has only been going for just a little under 2 years, and I only started that relatively recently because I was working so much in the field. I never thought of starting a podcast, but I kept getting that push, come on, we need you to do this. Come on, start this sort of thing. And then I finally did, and here we are.
I love that. I love that. One of the discussions I want to have with you, and I'm sure you've come across this as well, is I know many people that are afraid to work with the angels or don't understand that the angels are here to help us. Share with us some of your experiences and just sharing with the audience, what are the angels about? What are they here to do? Because I think sometimes our beliefs get in the way of us really connecting to these divine, beautiful beings that are all around us waiting to help us. And I have so many students and clients in my community, they're like, oh no, we're not supposed to work with the angels, that whole structure of breaking that down. So, share with us a little bit of your experiences with the angels and your clients and how you've gotten them to connect and work with the angels.
Violet, it is a great question. And so many times, whether I have guests on the show or whether I'm speaking with a client personally, I have had the experience where people have said, oh, no, mate, I shouldn't be asking for angels or angelic help because they're up there and I'm only down here. Like, why should I be asking for angelic help? Here's the thing. Angels absolutely love it when we call them in, when we do ask for help. It's not that they're there to serve us, but they do have a function in wanting to be called in. And when you call them in, and by the way, anybody can call them in. There are so many angels. And some of the things that I hear people say is, I might not be right to call on my angels because I could be taking away somebody else's help. No, there are so many angels. If you ask an angel for help, they will definitely step in. And yes, there are different kinds of angels. I, like the Catholics, believe that we all have a guardian angel. It's one of the doctrines of Catholic religion that we do have angels, not so much archangels, but angels, definitely. We have a guardian angel. There are definitely archangels. There are higher ranks of angels, most certainly. Like, you can talk about the virtues and the thrones. So there's definitely higher levels of angels. But just to ask for your angels to help you, that is available to absolutely everybody. And in my world, angels come in to support us all of the time, whether it's helping with finding a car parking spot. I know that sounds really mundane, but they absolutely do that. And I've got a great story around that. Showing themselves to us, whether it's about listening to what they have to say, looking out for the angelic messages. It's not just enough to ask. We actually then have to look for the response as well and really acknowledge that as something that is happening, not just being dismissive of it. If you're asking your angels for help, they can't just necessarily talk to you like you and I are having a conversation. If you're very clairaudient, you might hear angelic messages. That might come in a different form than a conversation. It could be a song on the radio. It could be a special friend gives you a message saying, well, I've been talking to Archangel Michael, and this absolutely happened to me. I was having a little bit of a hard time, and I called one of my friends, and she said, okay, what's going on with you? I've had Archangel Michael all night telling me that there is this, and this going on with you, and you need to tell me what's going on. And I did, and Archangel Michael had kept her awake all night, letting her know that I really needed help. And messages can get delivered to us in all sorts of ways. So to answer your question, everybody can ask for help. Everybody can get support of angels, and it's just up to us then to learn how to listen to the answers or to acknowledge what's going on so that we can see angels are responding to us. Does that make sense?
It does, and I love that explanation, because I believe we don't just have a couple of angels with us, we have several. There are millions of angels. There are so many. I think every person on the planet probably has more angels surrounding them than they can imagine. And these angels are here to help us, to support us, to navigate it, because this life is not always easy. These experiences are not easy. We came here to navigate, to learn, to grow, to expand, and they are honestly here to help us do that. And they love to help. I have a friend of mine that says, get them off the bench and put them in the game. Ask them for help. They're waiting. They're like, please ask, please ask. I really want to help you. And because we have free will, free choice, there's a lot of restrictions if we don't ask for help. Please help me through this. Please help me make take the right lane or the right road or make the right choice or do the right decision. They are definitely there to help us always when we connect with them. And angels have different jobs or different functions or different things they work on. I love you talking about finding a parking space. There are angels that help us find lost things. Have you ever lost something in your house and you're like, I can't remember where I hid it, where I put it? The angels definitely can help you find it. There's so many things that angels are around ready to help us if we would just be very aware. I love your signs of angels. Share with us a little bit on signs from angels. What might people expect or be paying attention to if angels are trying to talk to them and communicate with them?
I love that question, Violet. Well, for a start, if we're asking for angelic help, like, can you please give a message? Should I be doing this or shouldn't I be doing that? What path should I take? Or can you give me some kind of confirmation? One of the biggest things that we need to pay attention to is being open to messages coming in unexpected ways. For example, you might think to yourself, oh, it has to be in this particular format. No, angels don't do that. They're going to work in a way that makes sense. So you might be sitting at a traffic light and you see a truck coming by that has a big sign on it saying, just do it. You go, oh, yeah, that's a message. Just do it, right? Just do it. You can also get signs in terms of things that you identify with. For example, for me, feathers are a big thing. So if I see feathers, and I see loads of feathers in unexpected places, that's like spirit giving me that wonderful confirmation that, okay, we're around you, we're watching out for you. You might see signs with numbers. So if you happen to be particularly in tune with certain numbers, angels might show you signs through numbers. I have a perfect story for this. Recently, we went on the Eurostar from London to Paris, and we booked our coach and we booked our seats, and it automatically assigned them. And lo and behold, about 2 weeks after my booking, but obviously way before the actual trip, I got a message back saying, well, the coach has been changed, your seat has been changed. And the number 11 is a big number in the angelic realms for that confirmation. Well, would you believe it? We got confirmation of our new seats being in coach 11, seats 11 and 12. Now, if that's not an angel sign, that was just a big thing. And I got the most beautiful comfort and support knowing that the angels are with me on the journey. And that was just absolutely fabulous. So you can get angel numbers, you can get other angel signs. Like I said, you might be very clairaudient. And I have one of my guests, she actually said to me, I want to know what my guardian angel's name is. And the story that she told me is she was just about to go into the shower. She put the radio on. She asked the question, can you tell me what your name is? Like, I don't want to just call you guardian angel. And the Paul Simon song came on, Just Call Me Al. I said, guys, can it be really that simple? Absolutely. It was Al. That's the message. Just call me Al. So that's what she called her guardian angel. So the ultimate message is really just pay attention to the way signs may come. And most of all, know that angels will give you that message in a form that you can identify with. I've had guests on the podcast who've told me they've identified with hawks and other kinds of birds, stags, and various other creatures. It doesn't matter. As long as it matters to you, that's the important thing. And importantly, that you are paying attention to what resonates with you, because that's what angels are going to use to show themselves to you.
I love that story. For those of us that have digital clocks in your house, I wake up and it's always 11:11, 2:22, 4:44. And even when I'm half asleep, I look at that clock and go, thank you for letting me know that you're watching over me this evening. Thank you. And depending on what the number is, 11:11 means to me perfection, like you're going in the right direction. 222 means that you're showing me that you love me, because twos are about love. Fours are about you're really stable. You got a great foundation. Keep moving forward. Eights, prosperity, blessings going to come in. So numbers mean something to me. So they will definitely communicate with numbers. I mean, angels are with us to protect us. I have an angel story for you. I've got several, but I'll share one with you. We have a Archangel Michael statue that is about 3 feet tall and wide. And when we used to have our center in our retail store, he would sit in the middle and people would go and move him and he would growl at them like he didn't like to be moved from that central spot that he stood in, because he was very much protecting our space. And we would always keep an extra angel in the back. So if somebody came in and said, hey, I want to buy that statue, I want to have that statue. And one Sunday I wasn't working, I was at home, my staff was working, and I got a text, we sold the Archangel statue. And I was like, oh, good. And they go, by the way, the statue in the back is not the same as the statue in the store. So we sold the store statue. And a friend of mine, when I said that, went, oh no, you need to call that customer and ask for that statue back, because he wants to be in the store. And you might think that's trivial. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let the customer keep that statue. I want you to know 2 weeks later, our center flooded with water. Tears of sorrow, right? Tears of sorrow. So when we reopened our shop, our staff knew that statue does not leave that central place, because he is protecting our center and us. And we need to hold reverence for that. And so that story has been told so many times and so many others, because Archangel Michael does really funny things when it comes to our center and working with us. He used to ring the bells in the center and the staff would come running, because that meant somebody came in the store, and you'd go out there and nobody'd be there. He'd be standing in the doorway ringing the bells just to get everybody's attention. Wake up, folks. I'm still here. I'm still in the space. So angels can do all kinds of things and have so much communication. if we
Yeah,
just listen and lean into what they're telling us.
yeah, definitely. Absolutely, 100%.
So I love those stories when we talk about angels. Talk to us a little bit. You talked about parking spaces. How can angels help us, even in the most simple ways that we don't think about? How can we work with angels more in our life?
I think the biggest thing to answer your question, Violet, is just asking for that help and that support. I'll give you an example around parking spaces. And this was when I was living in Massachusetts and I had an evening dinner that I needed to go to. I was part of the 28th Harvard in Business Conference, Women in Business Conference. That was back in 2019, in February 2019. Now, I will say I'm an Aussie originally, and we don't have much snow in Australia on the roads. So I get a little bit, shall we say, uneasy when I'm traveling on roads that have had a lot of snow on them. And this evening, because I was going to this dinner at Harvard Business School, I asked my angels because I was coming down from Plymouth and I said, could you please help me? I really would appreciate your guidance. I know it's going to be dark. I know it's going to be snowy. And oh, please help me get a parking spot when we get there because I have no idea where exactly the layout of this place is. Well, I drove all the way up there, not a problem. Drove into this road, which I didn't even realize was a one-way street going down it. If you ever go to Harvard Business School, there is this road there. And I drove around the first time, not a parking spot to be seen for love or money. I thought, right, that's okay. We'll drive around the block again. And then as I came around the same street, I saw this car with its reversing lights. I went, great, not a problem. I'm just going to park there. This is going to be fabulous. And this car left, and I had a big Ford SUV, and I backed the car in, and lo and behold, the parking spot where the car was almost directly in front of the building where I needed to go to. So I said, oh, thank you so much. And they do. They absolutely, I don't know how they do it, but if it's just that feeling of being in that right place at the right time or trusting that you have to go around the block again, it absolutely works. And you might be having trouble with your relationship. You might be asking for some help or some support. Now, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It could be a relationship if you're having problems with your mother or your sister or some other family member or whoever. You can say, well, angels, can you just give me some guidance on what's the best way forward? And you'll find that inspiration comes to you in some way. It might be that a conversation naturally opens up with someone close to you and they might say, oh, have you tried this, this, and this? Or the answer might come to you in a dream. Or again, you might hear a song on the radio that gives you that guidance. Just be open to how that answer comes. But like I said, you can ask them about pretty much anything to give you that guidance and support with. You might be faced with a difficult direction in terms of, do I go forward in this way, this way? What do I do? They're not going to tell you the answer, but they might give you guidance on what might be the best course for where you are at a particular point in time.
I love that because I think they're all around us trying to help us, to guide us, to help us see things that we might not be able to see, to give us a broader perspective of what's going on because there's always two sides to every story. There's always things that we do or we say that we don't realize that we might hurt somebody or it might not come across in the way that we want. These are all lessons of learning. It's part of our human process. And, I know with me, people have come back years later and said, wow, that was so valuable what you said. Or, hey, when you said that, I took it this way. And I'm like, that's not the way that I meant it to be, right? It's this human communication is difficult. And I think it's even gotten more difficult today with text messaging and emails where we don't sit with each other and really just talk about it. We're we're too busy sending text messages or emails versus having those face-to-face conversations, which I think is really, really important, and being really open to the communication that they want to bring in, because the angels really do love us unconditionally, purely love and support us no matter who we are. We just have to be open to ask for that support. And I think that's so important. You know, parking spaces, we talked about that. My parking spaces, my husband says I'm in the angel because anytime I'm in the car, he gets really great parking spaces. But I think the reason that is every time we pull into that space, I always like say, thank you so much for this parking space. Thank you so much for letting this open up. Thank you for providing this parking space. So I also hold a space of gratitude when things work out or things happen in the right way or things go in the right way. I always say thank you so much for always being there, always supporting, always being part of it, because I believe that they are. And I believe even tragedies and challenges are meant to be. And thank you for leading me through it. Thank you for guiding me through it. Thank you for the lessons that I've learned in this process, right? I
Yeah.
think gratitude is huge when we're working with anyone, right? Of being very thankful and grateful. So, Dagmar, this has been such a great conversation. Share with us a little bit on how we can connect with you for people that would like to work with you, like to learn more about your podcast. Just share a little bit of all the things that you offer and what you do.
Goodness. Well, thank you for that opportunity as well. I have recently launched my school group, being SKOOL, and it's called Connecting with Your Angels. And I'll send you a link for that because I don't think I had that for you before, Violet. So I've only just launched that. And what that has is a free course in how you can connect with your angels. And I'm super excited about that. So please join my school group. You can get access to the free course. And it's more than that, because within the school group, you've got access to a community of like-minded people. And I also give people the opportunity to work with me on a one-to-one basis as well. You can always email me. I'm at Dagmar@angelic-footprints.com. I have a website, angelic-footprints.com. So you've got a number of different ways you can connect with me. I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn. So just look up Dagmar Bryant. I don't think there's that many of me, Dagmar being Dagmar. But definitely also check out the podcast, because the podcast is available on all the usual platforms. And we have guests who will definitely share all of their stories. I have angels on location. I've just come back from Paris and I'm just about to put together the podcast of all the angels and all the statues and beautiful structures that I saw where you can see angels in Paris. That's going to be released in the next few weeks. I also have on the podcast guided meditations, and they might be anything to do with, boosting your confidence, helping you to sleep, to give you that greater energy, but also giving you healing. So do check that out as well. And plus I have special information on specific angels and how they can help you. So for example, if you have a specific problem, then you might like to check out some of those specific podcasts, and they can then tell you about what the different angels have in terms of what they might help you with. So for example, Archangel Raphael is the healing angel. Now for me, I'm a real scaredy cat. I'm a real chicken every time I go to the dentist. So I will always ask Archangel Raphael to stay with me, to give me that comfort, to make sure that I am safe whenever I'm in that dentist chair. But whatever your issue is, check out those specific podcast topics and those angels to see what they can help you with. So I hope that gives you an idea of the kind of things that I cover, but also do one-to-one coaching. So I'd love you to connect with me.
I love that. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Violet.
And those listening, thank you for listening today. Make sure you like, comment, and follow us on your favorite channels. I love that Dagmar has shared her sacred magic with us and her connection with the angels. I hope that you will come back, excuse me, and see us on a future episode. Have a sacred and magical week.
Thank you for joining us. To find out more about Vialet, head over to discoveryourspiritualgifts.com. You can also send a personal message to Vialet through email, violet@discoveryourspiritualgifts.com. If you love the show, subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. Until next time, remember, we are meant to have abundant and joyful lives. We hope to see you soon at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts.